What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. And if you're a new viewer and this is the first time you're ever watching one of my videos and you're wondering why am I here, then I will tell you why you're here. So I'm going to be talking about films, TV, pop culture, nostalgia. So if you love any of those things, then you are in the right place. And also if you love puppies, you are also in the right place, because Rambo, my little Yorkie puppy, will be joining me and talking about a film that defined the 90s, sort of. A film that I think doesn't hold up as well today as it did back in the 90s, but it's still a good, fun watch. So whatever I say in this video, if I make fun of the film, just know that I do like this film. I grew up watching this film, but there's some aspects of it that just don't work today, and I feel like maybe a little bit offensive. But yeah, the film I'm going to be talking about is She's All That, starring Freddie Prinze Jr. and Rachael Leigh Cook. Now, you've probably heard about it, you've probably seen it, you've probably seen clips from it, you probably know that famous clip where she's like, Maya bet, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I will be diving into what works in the film, what doesn't, the tropes you see in the film, but also try and do sort of scene by scene of just explaining what the film is about. And also, if you watched my first ever video, the Buffy video, then I'm glad you guys enjoyed it, and I'll be doing more Buffy videos, so you didn't subscribe for no reason, because I will be doing more Buffy content. But today is all about one of the greatest 90s teen movies of all time, She's All That. Now, She's All That, if you don't really know much about it, there will be spoilers in this video, so if you don't want any spoilers and you haven't seen it, then please click away, because I will be revealing some sort of scene by scene. So if you don't want any spoilers, then just please click away now. But She's All That is a story as old as time, I guess. You know, you got your high school jock, played by Freddie Prinze Jr., and you've got the nerdy girl, played by Rachael Leigh Cook, and then you've got the popular high school guy who doesn't even know she exists because she wears glasses and a ponytail, because apparently wearing glasses and a ponytail makes you unattractive or makes you nerdy in 90s teen movies, whereas now it's seen as cool. And then she gets this fabulous makeover, which really doesn't do anything because she's already pretty. And he all of a sudden notices her and wants to make her the popular girl in school. And at which point, you guessed it, he falls head over heels in love with her as soon as she removes her glasses and ponytail, as you do, because that's apparently what 90s teen movies are. But when you look at the deeper meaning of She's All That, I can't help but notice the unrealistic expectations it puts on girls and teenage girls, and even guys, I guess, on what beauty is and beauty standards. Because, as I sort of mentioned at the start of the film, she's this nerdy girl who is the definition of nerdy just by the way she dresses with her overalls, and she has her ponytail, she has her glasses, and she's seen as unattractive, and she's not seen as the popular girl in school like Taylor is, who is Zach's ex-girlfriend. And it just really sets an unrealistic expectation of what beauty is and what's seen as popular. And I think if you're watching this film as a young teenager or as a tween or whatever, you're going to get the wrong idea of what beauty is, because by the end of the film, because she's had a makeover and she's, you know, has the hair, has the makeup, has the clothes that's sort of seen as what attractive is, then all of a sudden she gets a cool guy or the jock to notice her, which I feel in a way sets a wrong message to young girls, saying if you change the way you are, if you change the way you dress, if you change the way you look, you're going to be seen as beautiful. So She's All That was released 22 years ago, recently actually, and I can't believe it's so old. It makes me feel old, because I remember when that film came out, I was really young, but I still remember when it came out, and I mean, it's aged well. For a 90s movie, it has aged well, and I think it still resonates today. And they will be doing a you won't call it a remake, a reboot of the film called He's All That, which I don't know why they're doing, but I guess they want Addison Rae in it. That's why they're doing it. If you don't know who Addison Rae is, she's a TikToker. That's all I have to say about that. But this 1999 movie has become the generational vantage point for us millennials who grew up with NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears, scrunchies, and where Freddie Prinze Jr. ruled our TV or movie screens with some of the best 90s movies around. But at the time, I didn't really see much of it because I just saw it as a romantic movie that's really cute and, you know, the nerdy girl gets a popular guy. Now that I'm older and smarter, sort of, I've looked into the deeper meaning of what the film is actually about, and I'm going to sort of mention as we go scene by scene of what actually makes it degrading, but actually what also makes it a sweet and good movie to just watch. Now, Lainey, who is our main character and she is a nerdy girl, plays this sort of loner, artistic girl. Despite being conventionally beautiful, because she is seen as an outcast because she wears a ponytail and glasses. Because ladies and gentlemen, a ponytail makes you unattractive in 1999 apparently. And then we have Buffy's husband. Any reason for me to throw in Buffy there because you know I love Buffy. Freddie Prinze Jr., who was this teen heartthrob back in the 90s, early 2000s. He plays a handsome football player who's dating the popular cheerleader, popular girl in school called Taylor. And Lainey is basically invisible to him and his friends. But then one day his girlfriend, Taylor, breaks up with him. And she tells him she's seeing this other guy who she met on spring break, I think, and there's a flashback scene. And he's played by Mathew Lillard. Did I say his name right? Also known as Shaggy to me because he plays the best Shaggy ever, so I'm going to refer to him as Shaggy throughout this whole but his character's name is Brock Hudson. So, by the way, just a side note, Matthew is such a good actor and I feel like he deserves so much more credit because his performance in Scream is one of the best performances I have seen. Now, before we get into the main scene-by-scene breakdown of this film, we're going to take a short break and I'll see you guys in a bit. So now that we have met the main characters, we've got Lainey, we've got Zach, played by Freddie Prinze Jr., who I'm going to refer to as FP. Then we've got Brock, played by Shaggy. And also there's a small role with the late Paul Walker, who plays Zach's best friend, who is also the guy that makes a bet with Zach to turn the most nerdiest girl in school into prom queen by the end of the film. Now, when they're making the bet, Paul, also known as Dean, makes a bet and he gets to pick the girl that Zach turns into prom queen, and lo and behold he picks Lainey because she has a ponytail. Yep, he picks her because she has a ponytail. And that is the end of the film, guys. No, I'm just kidding. The film continues with FP trying to ask out Lainey, but she keeps rejecting him because he's never actually really taken the time to speak to her, so she's wondering why is he actually now trying to talk to me and ask me out on a date because they haven't spoken since, was it middle school? But her friend, who, is his name Jesse? I can't really remember. I think his name's Jesse, but he's actually all for it and he's like, Lainey, like the most popular guy in school is trying to date you, why don't you just go for it? But she's not having any of it and finds it really weird. Then we go into some stalker situations which I really feel like won't work in today's TV or film because he's literally stalking her everywhere. At her work, at her house, even around. And then he goes to her work to ask her out, but she rejects him, as you do, because she's like, why are you here? Why are you trying to ask me out? And yeah, she just doesn't believe him. And then we see him go to this artsy performance place where she goes to. She does a performance and he's there just clapping awkwardly in the audience. And then he gets picked on to do a performance and he gets up on stage with his hacky sack because apparently everyone carries a hacky sack in the 90s, and he just stands there awkwardly and starts bouncing his hacky sack around and talking to himself.
Sack.
And then you just have Lainey, who looks mad impressed in the audience. And yeah, everyone's just looking at him like, what are you doing? Get off the stage. But he does it, and I guess that wins her over, kind of, because they get to talking outside of the art performance place, where he practically insults her and tells her, has she ever considered wearing contacts? Because, again, as I referenced earlier, glasses are just nerdy in this movie in the 90s, because apparently if you wear glasses you're ugly. And then we skip a few little bits, and then after Lainey gets invited to a party when she's at the beach, we have Zach just randomly show up to her house again, but this time with some junior, like, are they football players? I think they're football players, who end up cleaning her house because apparently she was busy and couldn't go to a party because she had to clean. And then he, I think, brings her a dress, and then we have the infamous makeover scene, as you do in most 80s and 90s teen movies.
Really go with your face shape. What do you have in mind?
Well, I have an idea.
What kind of idea?
You'd really have to trust me.
Made famous by John Hughes, I think. And then you see Zach's sister give her a full makeover, and when I mean full makeover, I just mean she literally takes her hair down, gives it a cut, because she had those bad extensions in, which we were made to believe that it was her actual hair, which it wasn't. So I'm glad they got rid of those extensions, because she actually looks really nice with a short hairstyle. And removes her glasses. I think she does the eyebrows, and that's about it. And now she's meant to be some, you know, this beautiful, beautiful girl, which she already was, but just because of those little things, she's now seen as attractive, and Zach's like, oh my gosh, you're the most attractive person I've ever seen, when she walks down those stairs to Kiss Me by Sixpence None the Richer, which is still a classic song to this day. And you get that slow walk down the stairs as you do in those teen movies back in the day. She ends up tripping because she's this clumsy, cute girl, and Zach catches her, and yeah, they end up going to party where his ex is at, which is kind of weird. I don't know why she would want to go to a party where his ex is, but anyway. But I just remembered, ever since watching Not Another Teen Movie, that makeover scene makes me laugh, because practically in Not Another Teen Movie, all she does in the makeover scene is just remove her ponytail and take off her glasses, and she's like, I've done it. I'm a genius, and that just makes me think of that scene every single time I watch She's All That. Now we're at the party where everyone from school is at, and Brock does a weird dance at this party, and I don't know who thought it was a good idea to let Shaggy dance, but apparently he does. And Lainey reveals her new look at the party, where Taylor, Zach's ex-girlfriend, hey baby, sorry, my puppy's just here chilling, where Taylor, Zach's ex-girlfriend, is, and she's really not impressed because Lainey is like totally hot, and she ends up spilling her drink.
Oh. You really should be more careful with silk.
But funnily enough, her drink is actually the same colour as Lainey's dress. Now, I don't know if this was intentional, or if they just forgot to add some colour to the drink, or in post-production thought to add a stain, because it's like the same colour and it doesn't really make much of a difference. But Lainey, being a dramatic teen girl, runs out of the party, and Zach goes chasing after her, where, you know, he gets some props for that, and he tries to comfort her, and then she gives him this whole speech how she doesn't fit in and she never wanted to fit in.
No, it's not okay. I never should have come here.
Lainey, we were having fun today. You were having fun.
And she doesn't know what she's doing here, but, you know, blah, blah, blah. Hey, baby. You like She's All That? He loves She's All That as well, don't you? Mwah. Yeah, we go back to filming, baby. And then moving on, we have Lainey and Taylor, who are now going after the title of prom queen, and it's this big like montage of them like doing this whole campaigning, and you get two guys rapping. I guess that's probably the highlight of this movie, is the two guys that are rapping. Sit down, baby. Two guys that are rapping because apparently in teen movies back in the day, the whole world revolves around the popular girl, and all the side characters literally just do whatever the main characters want, and basically their whole existence is about the main character. So these two guys are rapping about Lainey and Taylor for no reason at all. And I forgot to mention, Usher is in this movie. He does all the announcements and things like that. And he's sort of like the DJ as well at the end of the film, and he's just there as just because he was popping back in the day. He's still popping now, but yeah, he's just basically there because he's Usher. Can I ask all of my American viewers, is prom really like that at the schools that you attended? Like, is it that much of a big deal, prom? And not just prom itself, but planning for prom? Like, is it this whole big ordeal where you're proper like campaigning to be the prom queen, and you're doing all these like campaigns around school and getting everyone to vote for you? Because it wasn't like that here in the UK, but I don't know if it's just it wasn't like that where I went to school, or if it's just not like that anyway, because every time I watch American movies, it's always this big thing, prom. Like, I always wanted to go to prom in America because it just seems so much more fun. But if it's not like that, then please let me know, because I kind of be crushed if it's not, because I've always watched movies where it is. He's literally trying to hump my leg as I'm trying to do this video. Remember, I'm trying to film this video, stop humping mama's leg. And then we go to the next scene. I don't know if it's right after this scene, but it's one of the next scenes anyway, where we're in the school cafeteria, and you get Lainey's brother, who is just skating around the cafeteria offering all the students pepper, because why wouldn't you? Is that a thing? And he goes around, and there's a little cameo from the one and only Buffy, aka Sarah Michelle Gellar, because I don't know, maybe because that's when Buffy was taking over and was really popping, and they thought, let us include Sarah Michelle Gellar in it. But also, was this right after I Know What You Did Last Summer, and her and FP started dating? So they probably thought, oh bless you baby, so they probably thought, let us do a cameo with her because they're dating now, and maybe because they were like the it couple of the late 90s. I guess the point of this cafeteria scene was to show Lainey that FP is actually a good guy, because he handles the bullies that are bullying her brother, and he makes them eat a pizza, which I don't know why they had to show that, because that scene was absolutely gross. Like, I did not have to watch a guy eating cubes off a pizza, and I know they're not real cubes, but I need to stop saying but it was gross nonetheless.
Take your magazine and apologize to my friend Simon here. Sorry.
Sorry.
Thanks.
Hoover it.
You think this is bad? Try messing with him again.
And I guess it kind of won Lainey over a little bit, because she was like, oh, Zach is a nice guy. He made these two guys eat pubes for my brother, so I guess he's a nice guy all of a sudden. Then we have Mr. Paul Walker, also known as Dean, who tries to sabotage Lainey and Zach's relationship, even though he was the one that made the bet, by trying to ask Lainey out, and also stalking her at her work, because everyone just stalks each other in this movie. And then he goes another step further by telling her that they planned this bet, but for some reason he failed to mention that it was his idea. And when it actually was, and she just thinks it was all Zach. And that's when we get the famous scene of, am I a bet? Am I a bet? Am I a fucking bet? Classic scene. I didn't do it justice, but it's a classic scene. And then that's pretty much where it all falls apart, because in every teen movie you have near the end where it all falls apart, and then all of a sudden everything comes together just before the end credit. And now we have made it to prom. Yes, the infamous prom scene, where everyone apparently is a professional dancer, because they do this big choreographed dance scene in the middle of the dance floor, and everyone all of a sudden knows all the moves to this one dance that's hosted by Usher. But it's just weird because I guess TikTok existed back in the day, because everyone apparently knows how to dance. But wait, no, he's all that. And Taylor and Zach, yes, I finally called him by his character's name and I'm not calling him FP. I'm going back and forth. Get crowned prom king and queen, of course. We knew that was going to happen. Taylor does her little speech and she kisses Zach on the cheek. But as this is happening, Jesse, Lainey's friend, overhears Dean in the bathroom with some other guys about him wanting to hook up with Lainey after prom and him booking a room for them. So he goes rushing out to tell Zach's sister, but also Zach as he's on stage, where Lainey's been there the whole time. So I don't know why he just didn't go straight to Lainey and tell her. He literally spent the whole time trying to find Zach's sister, go to Zach, when he could have just literally gone to Lainey in the first place and told her, which doesn't make sense, but I guess it's probably just to make the movie a bit more dramatic. Then you get Zach rush out of the school to go and find Lainey, and he rushes to her house to basically just own up to the fact that he made a bet in the first place. But he practically says, yes, I made a bet, but this was before I got to know you, and now I'm practically falling for you and all that, like blah, 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 this whole declaration of love. But I know I'm like saying blah, 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 but who didn't want FP to rush to their house and declare that, like, his love for them, like every teenage girl probably did back in the late 90s, early 2000s, or any guy really, like, it's romantic, I guess. And he's basically there just pouring his heart out to her.
You know, I made that bet before I knew you, Lainey. Before I really knew me.
What was it for anyway? I mean, what did you end up losing?
My best friend. She taught me a lot. Before her, I thought we had to have all the answers right now.
And of course, Lainey forgives him, because this wouldn't be a rom-com without the big sort of forgiveness scene where they make up and they live happily ever after, as you do when you're teenagers and when you feel like the whole world is ending, but then all of a sudden you get one little sorry and everything's all better again. But then we cut to the last scene, which is graduation, and now we finally get to see what the terms of the bet actually were, because up until this point, when I first watched it anyway, I kept forgetting like what the terms of the bet were. So if Zach loses, like, what does he have to do? And then we get to see what he actually has to do, and that is basically accept his diploma naked. So he's basically wearing his cap, but without the gown. He is there sitting there naked with the crowd, and for some reason no faculty member notices this or feels the need to be like, hello, why are you here naked? Like, you're at graduation, and doesn't feel to stop him. But this is a movie, so we'll let that slide. And he stands up basically, and you have Lainey laughing because she thinks it's so cute, and that's practically how the film ends. And overall, like, I know I kind of made fun of this movie a little bit and about the tropes of like nerdy girls and, you know, the typical high school like jock and the typical popular girl, and the fact that having a bet like that just wouldn't work in today's like society and generation, because it's just so degrading, basically, like what's seen as attractive and what's not seen as attractive back in the day. That just wouldn't work today. But if we sort of put that aside and just accept the film for what it is and for its time, then I think it still holds up to this day, because I feel like people can be overly sensitive now and take any little thing from movies and TV shows and see them as harmful or degrading or just stuff that doesn't work. But sometimes we just have to realise those things worked back in the day when we watched them. So why have we moved so far past that, and why are we so sensitive to everything nowadays? Why can't we just see it as what it is and enjoy the movie as just a standard 90s teen film? Because that's what it is, you know. It's not something you have to properly look into or deconstruct or you know, take every little comment or every line or every scene as something that could be toxic. Because yes, it does have its toxic tropes, but it is at the end of the day a fun, light-hearted rom-com, and that's what we should really take from it. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you haven't watched She's All That, I hope you guys go and watch it now with an open mind and don't think too much of it, and just enjoy it for what it is, and enjoy FP back in his prime, and also the late Paul Walker, because he was really good in this film as well. And if you want to see me do more videos like this, more films, and if you love nostalgia, then let me know some films or TV shows in the comments of what you want me to talk about. Like I said, I will be doing more Buffy content, which I can't wait. I'll be doing Pretty Little Liars, One Tree Hill, and so much more. So I can't wait to do all those videos, and I'm going to be doing more videos, so you won't have to wait as long for me to do a video. But yeah, if you haven't subscribed, I hope you subscribe to this channel, and I hope this video is the reason that you want to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. And this puppy has been humping me the whole time, but I still got through the video. So thank you again, and thanks again for watching, and stay safe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Mwah!